Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining us for our second session of our freezing exercise series. So I know there are a couple people who are new today, so I'll do a brief introduction so we can catch everybody up to speed. So for our freezing exercise class, we're going to be needing a chair to sit in because we will start in sitting and then move our way up to standing. And then if you had something to hold on to once you're standing, that would be great. So whether that might be the back of a chair, maybe a walker or a table or something like that. So you can see behind me, I've got a chair to sit in, and then I've got another chair that I'm going to be using to hold onto once I stand up. That way I'll have one on either side, which you'll be needing today. And then we also will be using an obstacle for you to step over today. So I normally have a little block, which I have beside my chair. You can't see it right now, but a little block, or you can use a tissue box, maybe a scarf or some kind of a line that you put on the floor, so you can use it as a visual cue to step over. That would be great. And today we're going to be doing similar things to last session, except we're going to be working on reaching a chair. So a lot of the times with freezing, you'll notice that it tends to happen when you're approaching a destination, like such as a door, perhaps a change in the hallway layout, or maybe when you're approaching a chair to sit down. So we're going to be using that today a little bit, and I'll be showing you how to approach a chair and sit down in a chair without freezing, or trying to avoid as much of the freezing as possible. So just follow along to the best of your abilities. If you need to take rest breaks in the session, please feel free to do so. And you'll find that a lot of the things that we're doing today, the slower the better. So please don't feel like you have to rush as we're doing the exercises today. Okay, and the session will be recorded like the other exercise sessions we've had. So if you did want to revisit the class on YouTube in the future, you can, of course, feel free to do so. We'll try to have the videos up in about a week's time after today. So hopefully you'll be able to revisit those in your own time if you like. And the last thing I wanted to mention as well is that we do have a chat box, which should be on the right-hand side of your screen. If you don't see it on the right-hand side of your screen, it might be in a little collapsed icon at the bottom of your screen. And if you click on it, the chat box should open. And you'll see that at the very top of the chat box, I've pinned our email address, which is info@parkinson.bc.ca. So if you do have any questions about anything from the class, you can feel free to drop us an email afterwards. Or if you just need to get the YouTube link, you can always email us as well. And during the class, if you did have any questions, you can feel free to type it in the chat box. Of course, I won't be able to read the questions during the class because I'll be moving with you. But after the class, I'll come up to the screen, and if you had any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. And I do have my colleague Alana Dillon here with us today, who is going to help us monitor the chat box. So if you do run into any technical difficulties, you can type in the chat box and let Alana know, and she can do her best to help you solve these issues. Okay, well, great. Let's get started. My name is Shelly. I forgot to mention that. I am a physiotherapist by background, and I am also a staff member at Parkinson Society BC. So I'm very pleased to be here today and doing this freezing webinar for you all today. So follow along. I'm going to move back to my chair now. So hopefully you can see me and you can hear me okay. So now that I'm back in my chair, hopefully you can still see me and you can still hear me. I'll just move over a tiny bit here. So we're going to start in sitting, and then we'll move our way up to standing. So just follow along. We're going to start by shuffling ourselves to the fronts of our chair, just so we're not slouching or leaning into anything. You want to make sure you're sitting up really nice and tall. Your back is away from the back of the chair. And we're going to just start by sitting right over our sit bones, trying to make sure we're nice and tall, elongating our spine, shoulders away from the ears. We're going to place our hands onto our hips, and we're just going to start by rolling over our sitting bones. So we're sitting nice and tall, and we're going to roll the pelvis back so that we're sitting on the back of our sitting bones. And then we're going to roll forward again to the very front of our sitting bones. And again, rolling back. Let me turn sideways actually so you can see me a little bit more. So you can see here my pelvis, nice and still. I'm going to roll back on my sitting bones, and I'm going to roll forwards over my sitting bones. And you'll notice as I'm doing this movement, I'm not doing this, right? So I'm not bringing my chest into the movement. I'm keeping my body relatively still, and you can see it's just my pelvis rolling forwards and rolling back. So don't worry if this movement feels pretty difficult. It is difficult for most people, especially because a lot of us have very stiff backs and stiff pelvis. So don't worry, just do the best that you can, trying to imagine you're balancing a book on your head and you're trying to keep it there so we're not leaning forwards and back, but we're just using our pelvis and our tummy muscles to try to roll your weight to the front of your sitting bones and then the back of your sitting bones. So nice and gentle with this movement. We're not trying to move our shoulders and our ribs back and forward, but we're trying to just isolate that pelvis movement if you can. And please don't feel like you have to do this very fast. Please do this in your own time, as long as you're really thinking about rolling forward on the sit bones and then rolling backwards on the sit bones. Good, keep going. I'm going to turn around again. We're going to keep doing that a few more times, rolling forwards and backwards, really trying to get that pelvis nice and warm, trying to maintain the same height as we're rolling. Good. Let's do 4 more in your own time. Good. So I've got 2 left here. Last one. Good, and rest. Okay, we're going to sit right over our sitting bones now, the center of our sitting bones, and we're going to start by marching those legs. And as we're marching, we're just going to swing the opposite arm forward. So it doesn't have to be very big right now. Just get the legs going and see if you can add in the arms. If the arms are throwing you off, take the arms out. That's absolutely fine. We just want to start getting our legs moving a bit. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders away from the ears. Good, that's it. And again, with any exercise you see today, please don't feel like you have to do it very fast. Do it at your own speed. That's absolutely fine. Because with our freezing exercise, it's a little bit different to the rest of our Parkinson's exercise. You'll probably notice in the other Parkinson's exercise series, we work on speed a little bit, and we do a lot on expanding your movement, making them as big as possible. And so the freezing exercises are slightly different in the sense that we want them to be slower, so we don't trigger a freezing episode in the class. And we also want to make sure that we have symmetry in the legs and arms. So we want to make sure we're lifting both legs up equally high and swinging both arms equally. Good. Okay, keep the legs going, keep the legs going. This time, we're going to reach those arms out beside you, nice and flat, still sitting up nice and tall, right? From here, we're going to bring our hand to our knee, or rather your knee to your hand. So we're thinking about lifting those knees a little bit higher so that way when you bend your arm, you can reach that knee to the hand. So we want to make sure we're leading with the knee up to the hand versus the hand down to the knee, because otherwise we're like this. So we want to sit up nice and tall, lifting the knees as high as your body can allow without leaning back into the chair. We still want to sit up nice and tall. Good. So again, please do this slower if you need to. Absolutely fine. Just work on getting that knee nice and high. Good. Let's bring our forearm to our knee this time. Still sitting up nice and tall. So now that we're bringing the forearm to the knee, we got to rotate the body a little bit more to reach. Still trying to get the knees up as high as you can, getting both knees to match. So we don't want just one knee going up nice and high and the other one's barely moving. We want both to go up equally high. Good. Okay, now we're going to bring our elbow to our knee. So we got to twist a little bit more this time. Still thinking about sitting nice and tall, bringing both knees up nice and high to meet that elbow. So opposite hand to knee. Good. Keep going, opposite side to knee. Let's do 4 more. 3, sitting up tall, 2, last 1, and drop the arms. Well done. Okay, we're going to do a marching and a punch forward now, just to get the arms a little bit more coordinated with the legs. So as we're marching, we're going to punch the opposite arm forward, like so. Still thinking about getting those knees up nice and high. We're looking for symmetry here. So we want to make sure that both arms and legs are moving equally, and we're not doing this kind of movement, right? We want to make sure both sides are moving nice and equally, sitting up nice and tall, spine long, sitting over those sit bones, no leaning into the chair. I know, lots to think about, but you're doing great. Keep going. Let's do 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay. We're going to place our hands on our hips now, and we're going to do some knee lengthening movements. So we're going to take one of your legs, and you're going to straighten that knee and show me the bottom of your foot. Now, really important, as we're doing this, we want to make sure we're not slouching back or leaving the foot down on the floor, but we want to sit up nice and tall, and you're really thinking about straightening the knee. So bringing the bottom part of your leg up to match the height of your thigh. And it's okay if you feel like it's very tight at the back of the leg and you can't quite reach up, that's absolutely fine. Do the best that you can, trying to show me the bottom of your foot. Good. So yeah, nice and tall. Imagine that book balancing on your head that we don't want to let drop to the floor. Good. Sitting right over those sit bones, shoulders down. Holding those tummy muscles nice and tight so we're not wobbling side to side. Good. On the next one, we're going to hold it up and we're going to imagine we're drawing a circle with the bottom of our foot. Doesn't have to be too big, but I do want you to try to make it a circle, not an oval, not a square, not a diamond, but a circle. So really trying to fill the entire circle as round as you can make it without the knee doing this. We want it to come from the entire leg. So imagine your knee is stuck in the straight position, it's locked, and you have to use the hip to lift and rotate. So you should probably feel your thigh burning a little bit from this. Good, well done. Sitting up nice and tall, still balancing. Good, and rest. Well done. Okay. Same thing, other side, sitting up nice and tall, straightening that knee, showing me the bottom of your foot, and then you're using the whole leg to draw a circle. So not just the knee, but you want to use your hip. The entire leg is moving. Keep that knee nice and straight if you can. Thinking about drawing a full circle, not an oval. I know it's tempting, but try to make it a big circle, not an oval. Filling out all corners, or I guess there's no corners of a circle, but you know what I mean. Filling out the entire circle as much as you can. Good. And rest. Okay, same thing on the other side, but this time we're going to go in the opposite direction to what you did just now. So we're going to straighten the leg again, showing me the bottom of your foot, And we're going to draw a circle in the opposite direction this time. Still sitting up nice and tall, shoulders away from the ears, keeping that knee nice and straight, using the whole leg to draw that circle. Good. Are we still breathing? Good. Well done. Keep going a little bit more. Big circle, not an oval. Good. And rest. Okay. Last time on the other side. Straightening that knee. Show me the bottom of your foot. You're going to draw a circle again in the opposite direction to the direction you were doing earlier on this leg. Good. Sitting up nice and tall. Pretend you've got that book on your head again that you're balancing. Keeping that knee nice and straight if you can. Using the bottom of your foot to draw the circle. Not oval, circle. Good. Well done. Almost there. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. And rest. Well done. Okay. Next, we're going to bring the legs together. If you can, I would like you to bring your feet and your knees together. If that's not comfortable and you need to separate them a little bit, that's okay, but try to make them as narrow as possible. So making sure that we're still sitting at the front of the chair, that we're not slouching from the last exercise. And from here, we're going to cross our arms. We're going to fold them across the chest, and we're going to keep those legs together or as close together as possible. Now, you're going to imagine your whole body is very stiff. You're like a mummy. You're stuck in this position. Now, I want you to imagine your spine is nice and long, but it's very stiff. So you can only bend and move from the hips. So we're going to keep our body in this position, and we're just going to bend forwards and backwards with our back. Let me turn sideways so you can see. So body nice and stiff like a mummy. Only movement is coming from the hips. So you can only bend at the hips. So notice how this forward and backwards movement is not the same as this, right? So I'm not doing this with my back, but I'm keeping my back long and I'm hinging at the hips only. And notice when I go back, I'm not slouching into the chair, but instead I'm using my tummy muscles to hold my posture without slouching back. So really trying to get the trunk working, get the trunk warmed up, leaning forwards and backwards without using those arms, using those tummy muscles to bring you forward and back. Not leaning on the chair, not leaning on the wall, not leaning on the armrest of the chair, right? We're using our tummy muscles. And if you can't go very far, that's absolutely fine. Go at a smaller range that you can control. So emphasis on a range that you can control rather than moving as big as you can, but you're falling off your chair. And keep squeezing those knees together if your feet are together, because it will make it a little bit more easy to control if you can squeeze those knees together. Good, well done. Let's do a few more here. Keeping that spine nice and long. Only moving from the hips, not from the chest, not from the back, from the hips. Good, well done. Let's do 2 more. Let's do 1 more. Good, and rest. Okay, stay where you are. I'm going to turn around so you can see me again. We're going to do the exact same thing, except now we're going side to side. So still folding the arms across the chest, legs together if you can. If not, a little bit separate is okay, but try to have them squeezing in to give you a bit more of a challenge. Shuffle to the front of your chair. Feet flat on the floor. Again, imagine your body is very stiff. You're a mummy who's stuck in this position and you can't move. This time, you're going to tip side to side, and you're going to use your entire body to tip side to side. So as you're looking at me doing this movement, you can probably see that one of my butt cheeks is lifting off the chair. So that's what you want, because you want your entire body to be very stiff and you're moving your entire body side to side, really using your abdominal control to stop you from falling off the chair. Now, if you're sitting in a chair with armrest, try your best not to cheat and lean on the armrest, but you want to try to go as far as you can just before you touch the armrest and coming back. And really try to lift that bottom off as well as you're shifting side to side. Of course, if your legs are open, it's a lot easier because you can use the leg to push. But for a challenge, it would be best if you had your legs together or at least a little bit more narrow. So you're really using your tummy muscles and your back muscles to help you move side to side. Thinking about hovering that bum cheek off the chair as you're doing that movement. So bum cheek off the chair. Good, keep going. Well done, everybody. Making sure that we're nice and long in our spine. We're not slouching like this, right? And we're not just moving our upper body, but we're sitting tall using our entire body to move. So always have a bit of a mental checklist as we go through today. Always think, is my back nice and tall? Am I sticking my hips forward or am I sticking my bum back? Am I still balancing that imaginary book on top of my head? Good, well done, everybody. Keep going, squeezing those knees together. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. And rest. Good. Okay. We're going to practice our sit to stands now. I'm going to turn sideways. So you'll probably remember last week when we were practicing our sit to stands, we were doing them very slowly. That's exactly what I want you to do again. Now, if you're somebody who's a bit scared that you might fall forward as you're standing up, I want you to try and bring something in front of you. So I have a chair, for example. It might be a walker, a table, or perhaps somebody in front of you to help. If that helps with your, ease of mind, please do have something in front of you. Now, as we're standing up today, we're really emphasizing on the slowness and the quality of the stand. So I don't want you to use momentum to swing yourself up and then grab hold of your walker. So I really want you to go as slow as possible, having the feet flat on the floor and slightly back a little bit to your chair. Now, you're going to think about bringing your chest forward as if someone's pulled your shirt forward as far as possible. You're going to bring your chest forward so far that your bottom starts to hover off and your balance, your center of gravity is right in between your feet, right? So I don't want to see this. I don't want to see you trying to then pull yourself up like this. We want to try right away to bring our weight over our feet. So don't be afraid of going forward, because if you went forward, you're actually more likely to stand successfully than if you were to do this. So don't be afraid of falling forward. Have something in front of you. So we're going to lean forward, almost as if someone's pulling you forward as far as possible, keeping your weight in the middle of your feet. You're going to now push down into the floor as hard as you can. Push the floor away from you as hard as you can. Squeezing those bum cheeks forward, chest up nice and tall. Imagining you're trying to push the pockets of your pants, the front pockets forward. Okay, so we're not like this. We're sticking that bottom and pushing forward. Keep your weight over your feet. And then from here, we're going to do the same thing in reverse. Bend those knees, stick the bottom back, keep your chest in the middle of your feet. Keep your weight in the middle of the feet, and you slowly sit down. So it's really important that we keep our weight over our feet, right? We don't want our weight forward in front of our feet or behind our feet, because then that's when you'll fall. You want to keep your weight right in the middle of your feet. Let's try that again, slow. Bringing that chest forward, trying to get your weight over your feet. Push down into the floor as hard as you can. Squeeze the bum cheeks in, chest up, imaginary book on your head. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. And then we sit down again. Bend your hips back, knees bending down, chest, and weight still over your feet. And then we sit down. Good. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now so you can concentrate, because I know there's lots to think about. So let's try and see if we can do 4 sit to stands in your own time with that technique, okay? So I'm gonna stop talking and I let you concentrate and do 4 sit to stands nice and slow. Thinking about shifting your weight right on top of your feet. No matter what you're doing, whether you're standing up or sitting down, your weight should be right over your feet, not behind, not in front. Well done, everybody. Okay, when you've done your 4, have a rest. Hopefully that was okay and it wasn't too difficult. For those of you who are still doing your 4 sit to stands, don't rush, keep going. The rest of us who are done, I want you to stand up again and stay standing. Okay, so I'm going to move my chairs now so I can set up for the standing portion. If you're still doing your 4 sit to stands, don't worry, don't rush, take your time. On the last stand, stay standing. Okay, so you can see that I'm setting up with 1 chair on my left and 1 chair on my right. Now, if you don't have 2 chairs at home, don't worry, it could be a chair and a wall, or perhaps 2 walls if you have a narrow door frame that you can work with. But as long as you have something to hold on to, absolutely fine. Now, you can see I've got my block here. So it's not very big, it's a little block. And it's the same size as a tissue box, so you can have that handy for our obstacle portion when we get to it. Okay, we're going to start by holding on to either chairs or your walker or wall or whatever you're using. And we're going to work on symmetry of the legs again. We're going to march on the spot, trying to get the knees up as high as you can. And it would really help if you had a visual target. So for example, the height of your chair. So I have 2 different size chairs, so I'm going to choose this one here on the side. So you're going to think about bringing those knees up to match the height of the chair. Both knees, not just one, both matching the height of the chair, going slow. So I don't want you to go really fast like this. I want you to go slow. The slower, the better, because the slower, the more you can work on the technique of this movement here. Okay, so not about speed, more about symmetry and the quality of the movement here. So you're lifting those knees up nice and high to match the height of the chair. And you'll notice as I'm moving, as I'm marching, I'm actually shifting my weight from side to side to clear my other leg from lifting. So I'm bringing my weight over in order to lift up one of my legs, right? So there's this natural shift. I'm exaggerating it now so you can see, but there's a natural shift side to side as we march. Don't be afraid of that. It's really important that we can have the ability to transfer our weight over our feet, right? Because if I'm trying to keep my weight in the middle and I'm just lifting, but I'm keeping my weight in the middle, you're going to end up having, every time you lift your leg, it'll come crashing down right away because you can't balance. So it's really important that we have that natural shift. Again, I'm exaggerating now so you can see, but you have this natural shift as we're marching, transferring the weight over. So just like what we talked about in our sit to stand, you always want your weight, your center of gravity, to be over the supporting surface you're standing on, whether that's 1 leg, 2 legs, or open leg stance, whatever stance that you're in, you want the center of gravity to be right over your feet in order to stay balanced. Okay, keep going. Marching on the spot, lifting those knees nice and high to match the height of the chair or the walker or some other visual target you have. Trying to get both knees up nice and high. Good, let's do 4 more. 3 more. 2. Last 1. And rest. Okay, I'm gonna bring my chairs a little bit further apart. And I'm gonna grab my block now. So I want you to stand towards one chair and you're gonna place the block beside you. So you can see, block down beside me here. And we're going to practice our side steps. So you're gonna get a little bit closer to the block if you would like. And you can hold on to both objects that you have here if you can reach them. If not, one is fine. You're going to now step over sideways over the block. So you want to lift that knee up as high as you can to match the height of the chair again. Lift and step over like so. And then your second leg does the same thing, lifting up to match the height of the chair to step over. Now, I want you to exaggerate the movement more than you think. So if you think you're going to lift your leg this high and step here, I want you to lift it higher and step even further. The reason I say that is because a lot of the times with Parkinson's, you judge that you're going to lift your leg up this high and place it down here, but in reality, it's less than that, and you end up tripping on the block. So I want you to aim for further than you think you can, okay? Try that again. Lift the knee up even higher than you think and stepping it over as far as you can. Good, so the block is in the middle of the legs. And then your second leg does the same thing, lifting up nice and high and stepping over. So we want to make sure that we're not just lifting the first leg up and over and then forgetting about our second leg, but you want the second leg to lift up and over as well. So remember symmetry, right? So we want both of our legs to be moving equally. And you'll notice that I'm going nice and slow. And that's exactly what I want you to do at home. So I don't want you to go as fast as you can, go slow. You'll find that your balance is going to be challenged more when you go slow, especially when you're in the position where your legs are open. You might find that your balance is a little bit worse here. That's fine. Hold it. Push the floor away from you. And then you're going to push the floor away from you with the other leg lifting up nice and high. So I always say when you're doing any kind of activities that involves balance and you find your balance is very tough, always imagine the floor is like a trampoline. You push the floor away from you. And by doing that, pushing the floor away from you, you're actually activating your muscles a little bit more to hold you up. Good. Let's do a few more here. Getting those knees nice and high, stepping over the obstacle. Good. I know this is hard, so don't worry if it feels really difficult. Keep trying. Let's do one last one. And rest. Well done. Okay, we're going to move the block. Right now, I'm going to move my chair into the middle again because we're going to practice how to get to our chair. So I've got a little band here. You don't need a band. I'm just using this so I can show you the pathway that I'm going to take. So I've got a chair here. Now, you'll probably find whenever you're walking to a chair and you're wanting to sit down in a chair, as soon as you get to the chair, you might be in a frozen position where you just can't quite sit in the chair. So I'm going to show you a strategy you can use. I'm using my trusty pen to help illustrate that. So I put my band here in a bit of a semicircle in front of the chair. Can you see? It's a semicircle, like a U shape, like this. You might not be able to see because it's a relatively dark floor, but the idea here is you have a semicircle U shape like this in front of the chair. And we're going to stand on one end of this U. You can put some tape down on the floor if you like, or just imagine. So think that U shape in front of the chair. We're going to side step in the U shape. That's all we're going to do right now. So we're going to side step in that U shape. And Van's coming off the floor as I'm stepping on it. Let me move it back a little bit. Okay, so same thing, a big U shape. You're side stepping. along the U shape. So ignore the chair in the middle right now. We're just going to practice sidestepping in this U shape. As you're sidestepping, you don't have to do it as fast as I am. Go slow if you like, but I want you to lift those knees, okay? It doesn't have to be super high, but try to lift them a little bit higher than you normally do, getting both legs even. And we're just gonna keep doing that back and forth. I'll give you a little bit more time here in case you're trying to set up, but I'm gonna keep going with the U shape. So right in front of the chair, you've got a U shape, and you're just sidestepping along the U shape, not doing anything with the arms, just sidestepping with the legs. And you always want your heels to be attached to that U shape, so that way you're turning your body, right? Because where our heels are always at the U shape, so notice how I'm turning. So I'm not doing this, right? I'm not stepping forward. I'm stepping to the side along this U shape. Does that make sense? Let me show you again. So I'm stepping sideways along the U shape. So notice here how my body turns because I'm sidestepping along the U shape rather than like this, where I'm walking the U shape, not the same, right? Side step is what we're looking for. Well done, everybody. Keep going. Chest up, bottom tucked in. We're not like this, right? Bottom tucked in, chest up. Imagining you're balancing that book on your head, lifting those knees a little bit higher than you think, and we're gonna side step along the U shape. Good. Keep going, everybody. Side step. Not walking forward, side step. Good. So don't think about the turning if that's confusing. Just think side step along the U shape. It'll probably help if you actually had a U shape on the floor. So if you don't have it now, don't worry. You can next time when you practice, you can try to put some duct tape or Scotch tape or something on the floor, or even like a band or a scarf that you can, do your U shape around would be helpful. So ignoring that chair in the middle, you're just doing a U shape. Good. Let's do a few more here. Lifting those knees, working on sidestepping in that U shape. Good. Okay. This time, we're going to keep doing our U-shaped side steps, but every time we get to the middle of the U, we're going to sit down and stand up and then continue our U shape. So it looks like this. I'm sidestepping in my U shape. When I face the front, when I'm in the middle of my U, so you can see this is the ends of my U, I'm in the middle. Then I'm going to sit down. And then I'm going to stand up again. Using the same technique we had before, bring your chest over your feet, weight over your feet to stand. And I'm going to continue my side stepping in the U shape. Okay, so let me do that again. Side stepping along the U shape, lifting the knees. When you get to the middle, stop, sit down, stand up again, and then continue with the U shape. Okay, let's try. Keep going in your own time. Really thinking about that U shape, right? Good. And again, please don't feel like you have to do this fast. Go slow if you like. It's absolutely fine. There's no rush. As long as you're not shuffling the feet, but you're lifting the feet off the floor as you're side stepping, right? So we're not shuffling like this. We're lifting the feet. If lifting the feet is hard, imagine you're stomping. If you think stomp, it'll help you lift your feet up as well. Oh, sorry, I missed the middle one. I was talking and then I forgot I was supposed to do a sit and stand. Awesome job, you guys. I know this is a bit strange, but bear with me. Let's see if we can do a few more rounds of this before we add on. I promise there's a reason we're doing this. Good, well done. Okay, let's stop here. Now, I'm going to move my chair. You can still see that, and I'm moving the U shape. So I'm turning my chair sideways, just so you can see, but you can stay where you are. So there's my chair. You can see my U shape on the floor here. What we're gonna do now, the reason I move my chair aside is so we can practice approaching the chair. So now we're gonna walk to the chair. So your chair is gonna be in front of you. My living room is pretty narrow, but you get the idea. It can be a little bit longer than this, that's fine. We are going to walk towards the chair. And then when you approach the U shape, you're going to start stepping in that U shape to get to the middle of the chair. And then you're going to sit down. And then you're gonna stand up again. And you're gonna walk forward away from the chair. And then you're going to turn around. Now, if you freeze when you turn around, you can feel free to do that waddle that we did last time, thinking about the palm trees swaying in the wind. And then you're transferring your way over so far that you can now start to move. So you're thinking about the palm tree swaying in the wind to help you turn. Or if you can turn, you can just turn. But if you get a bit stuck turning, think about the palm tree swaying in the wind. And then you do the same thing again. You walk to your chair, then when you get to the chair, you're going to start with your U shape. Side step across that U shape, and then you're going to sit down again. Make sense? And then you stand back up. And then again, walking away from the chair. If you wanted to, you could have 2 chairs, and you could do the U shape for every chair if you would like. Okay, and again, walking towards the chair, side step in the U shape. And you sit down, nice and slow. Take your time, no rush. I know I tend to demonstrate a little bit quicker. So really think about lifting the feet, right? So we want to try to avoid shuffling. Because believe it or not, the more you shuffle, the smaller your steps are, the more likely you're going to trigger a freezing episode. So you want to try to get the feet a little bit wider when you're stepping, and you want to try to lift the feet a little bit higher. So think stomping. Think stomping. That might help. Even when you're turning, think stomping. Or swaying if you're using the palm tree strategy. Keep thinking about side stepping in that U shape. If this is too difficult for you and you're finding that you're freezing a lot trying to do this exercise, don't worry, take out the walk and just go back to that U shape side shuffle. Or rather than shuffle, side step, not shuffle. But if this is too difficult approaching the chair and then using the U-shape strategy, just do the U-shape strategy. Take out the walking and just practice side stepping in the U-shape. Just practice side stepping. And then you can, of course, practice side stepping and sitting down. Whoops, I ruined my U here. And then standing up and then side stepping again. Right? So if it's too difficult adding in the walking towards the chair, don't worry, just practice that U shape, okay? Yeah, keep going. Give you another minute here to just practice. Take your time. You don't have to go fast. I know when I demonstrate, I tend to go a little bit faster, especially when I'm talking. But please feel free to do it slower, okay? Thinking about the technique, because remember, if you go too fast, and your feet start shuffling, you're actually going to trigger a freezing episode. So you want to try to avoid the triggers as much as possible by taking slower and longer steps and more symmetrical steps. Okay, we're gonna keep it going. Now, if you're somebody who finds it super easy and you're like, oh gosh, I could do this in my sleep, well, we're gonna add in a bit of a challenge. So not everybody has to do this, only if you're finding this relatively manageable. I want you to start adding in a cognitive task. So we're gonna add in a dual task like we did last time. You're going to name as many cities as you can think of in the entire world, could be anywhere in the world, as many cities as you can think of, starting from the letters A all the way to Z. So cities, towns, provinces, countries, things like that. And any place you can think of, starting with the letter A all the way to Z. So for example, you might say Austin. And then B, maybe you say Brisbane. C, maybe you say Calgary, etc., etc. So you want to try to do this movement, but while multitasking and trying to name as many places in the world as you can think of, starting from the letters A to Z. So I'm going to be quiet now so you can work on that. I'll give you a few minutes here, okay? Keep the feet moving while you're thinking. Don't let yourself stop moving just because you're thinking. Gotta practice diverting that attention. Okay, I'll actually be quiet for real now. Well done, everybody. Keep the feet moving as you're thinking. Give you another 30 seconds. And rest. Good. Well done, everybody. Hopefully that wasn't too difficult. We're going to bring our chair backs again. And we're going to now sit down in the chair for our bit of a cool down. So the hard part is truly over. Hopefully you've all enjoyed that and don't hate me too much. Okay. We're going to sit to the fronts of our chairs again. So we're going to do a bit of a stretch to finish. We're going to straighten one of our legs. So this time you don't have to lift it off the floor. Keep it on the floor, but keep the knee as straight as possible, back as straight as possible. Using the opposite arm, you're going to hinge forward at the hips and swing the arm back in a bit of a circle, and you switch sides. Straighten that leg, hinge forward at the hips, swinging with the opposite side. Good. Let me go sideways so you can see. You should feel a stretch at the back of the thigh and the back of the knee of the leg. That's straightening. Making sure that you're circling the opposite arm forward and back to give you a little bit further of a stretch as you lean forward. Keep the spine nice and long if you can. Well done. One more. Good, and rest. Okay, I'm going to turn my chair around. So now you're going to straighten one of your legs out to the side, or you can do both if you like. You're going to straighten one of them out to the side. See if you can keep that knee straight, and you're going to hinge forward so that you feel a stretch in the inner thigh of that leg. So you can place your hands on the bent knee, straighten the other one if you can. I know it's a little bit hard when you're sitting down, but you need to shuffle to the very front of your chair. Lean forward, feeling that stretch in the inner thigh. Good job. And back in. Let's try the other side. Same thing. Straighten that knee if you can. Hands onto the bent leg. Spine nice and long. Hinge forward at the hips to feel the stretch in the inner thigh. Are you breathing? Make sure to always breathe in the stretch. Okay, we're going to do a rotation. You're going to take one of your hands and you're going to reach to the outside of the opposite knee. And then your other hand is going to reach around to grab the chair, the back of the chair or the armrest of the chair. And you're going to use your hands to pull yourself around. Reaching that breastbone to that back wall if you can, sitting up nice and tall, really twisting. Almost like your spine is a towel and you're using your hands to wring out the towel, twisting on its axis. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. Same thing, other side. Hand to the opposite knee on the other side. The other hand reaching around to grab the chair, sitting up nice and tall, twisting over, using your hands. Imagine your spine is like a towel and you're wringing it on its axis. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. From here, we're going to now shuffle to the back of our chair. So this is the only time I'm letting you get your back to the ends of the chair. So back, leaning into the chair. You're going to float those arms up behind your head like so, and you're going to open those elbows. So see here? Open the elbows, drop the shoulders. Now from here, you're going to lean back into the chair and look up at the ceiling. So you should feel a back stretch over that chair. Just be careful that you don't fall backwards in your chair. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back up. Again, opening the elbows, sitting up nice and tall. Leaning back into the chair, opening the chest for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back up. Okay. Shuffle forwards a bit in the chair, opening the legs nice and wide. We're going to reach those fingertips down. We're going to sweep the floor almost like you're picking something off the floor. Breathe in, reach up overhead, and open the arms. Again, breathing and sweeping something off the floor. And out. One more, sweeping down, breath in. Open up, breath out. And you are done. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that class, and I hope it wasn't too difficult. But hopefully you can see the pattern of what a freezing exercise class tends to look like. So we emphasize a lot on your symmetry of your legs, working on stepping a little bit slower, trying to avoid the things that trigger a freezing episode, which ironically enough, things that trigger a freezing episode happen to be the actual qualities of a freezing episode. So anytime you make your steps go smaller and more shuffling and quicker, that's when your freezing episodes tends to be triggered. And also when you're approaching a destination such as a chair, a doorway, or something like that. So try to use those strategies this week and see how you feel. So the U shape in front of the chair. So if you're somebody who freezes in front of a chair, try using that side step strategy and see how you feel. Same thing with if you're having an issue going through a doorway, rather than walking forward, see if you can sidestep across the doorway instead. But we'll work a little bit on that next week. But try those strategies this week. See how you feel. Let me know how you get on with the strategies. And thank you so much for joining us for the class today. And we will see you next class for week 3. I see some great comments. Well, thank you guys. I hope you enjoy the sunshine as well. And yes, you are right. The shuffling does trigger the freezing. So really important to get the step symmetry to stop it from even happening in the first place as much as we can. And other than that, the cognitive task that we did is also important, because the freezing episode, even though there's some physical aspects of the freezing, when you do get freezing, it's actually more a cognitive issue than a physical issue, even though there is a bit of physical issues involved. It's basically your brain's inability to divert attention to the physical task and the cognitive task. So hence why freezing happens more when you're in a situation where you have to judge the environment or make some decision about the environment, like approaching a chair, approaching a doorway, maybe when you're crossing the street. So really important to practice cognitive tasks while you're doing the physical task, so that your brain can divert attention to both things without giving priority to the thinking task. Hence why we always freeze when we're thinking about something. So yes, okay. Well, anyway, I'll let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you all next week. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the sun.